everybody, and welcome back to the Upper Room. This week we're talking about the Ten Commandments. This video is a continuation of the last video that I made that I brought you guys in the Bible to where we received the Ten Commandments, and God had just stepped down from heaven onto Mount Sinai. So if you want to see that video, go back to the last video that I posted, and then I will read to you when God stepped down onto the mountain and everyone witnessed it. I mean, all of the Hebrew people that he delivered from Egypt witnessed it. So here right now we are, God is about to give Moses the Ten Commandments. He's speaking to Moses. And this video is about the first and second commandment. I'm kind of combining them both because they kind of coincide with each other. And so I'll just read God's words to Moses. And he's directing this towards all of the Hebrew people that are at the base of the mountain. And he's speaking this and they can all hear him. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. So, God is addressing the Israelites and letting them know that he's their God and that he delivered them from Egypt and out of slavery and out of bondage. So he's showing them that he cares for them and loves them. And he's asking for that same respect in return from them. And so he's stating that if you're to serve me and to love me, because I delivered you from Egypt, I saved you, I rescued you, you will not worship any other gods. Okay? If you look back in the last video that I made, I read about when God was going to put the final plague onto Egypt, and that he was going to smite the firstborn of every Egyptian, and even of their livestock would die. And so God mentioned to Moses and said that he had come to bring judgment on the gods of Egypt, and he came to bring judgment on the Egyptians and on Pharaoh. And so we know that they're worshiping things that they shouldn't. These are spiritual beings that we don't know of, but God is instructing the Israelites, you shall not worship them. Okay, and we also know that God, that delivered the Jews from Egypt, is so great that he's even the judge of those gods. So we come to the understanding that there are fallen angels that were cast down from heaven. We know that Satan wanted to be like God, so he wanted to be worshipped as God is worshipped. And so there are many fallen angels, and there are many other quote-unquote gods that desire for human beings to worship them. So the two kind of fit. So God is instructing the Israelites not to make any graven image that is in any likeness of these types of creatures, to worship them. Okay, and we also can see that even as we go further in the book of Exodus, that the Israelites were so used to doing this because the Egyptians did it with their gods. Well, they had Ra, which is the god of the underworld, and all these other several different gods, god of the sun, and all this stuff. And God came to bring judgment on them because they were worshiping these graven images, in addition to these things that they were doing, and by keeping the Jews in slavery for 400 years. So in this first commandment, we also see that God, seeing that those who worship other gods and not worship him are ones who would hate God. They would despise him because if they loved him, they would worship him alone. So, and he's mentioning to us that he visits the iniquity of the father down to the third and fourth generation. What that's saying is that he remembers the sin of the first one who denied him and worshipped other gods and hated him, even down to his offspring and his offspring's offspring. He won't forget the sin that man did against him. Okay, and it won't be favorable for even his offspring. So that's a scary thought to think of. But then God follows it up with this. He says, "But offering steadfast love to the thousands that love me." That's a powerful thing to think of. And the Jews are called, the Hebrews are called to love him because he delivered them from slavery, right? And so if we want to share in God's promises to his people, right? And because of Jesus Christ, his son, we too can have a share in that inheritance that God has promised. And and so the first commandment is stating exactly that, is that we are to love the Lord our God with all our heart, all our mind, all our soul. We are to worship him alone. Okay, and we can expect to have steadfast love from him because we love him. So thanks again for watching The Upper Room. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Think about this video. Think about what it means to love someone. You know, when you love somebody, you spend time with them. You talk to them. You help them out with some of the work that they need to do. You know, you help take the load off of all the work that they need done. You offer to help them with things that they need. You know, think of a friend that's moving. Think of a friend that has a project due. Think of or a classmate or something. Think of your spouse. You know, how do you show her or him, that you love them, right? You talk to them. You spend time with them. You do things for them. Okay. If you don't do those things for God and you say you love him, that's not real love. Okay. So thanks again for watching Upper Room. I'll see you next week.